Cha Tae-sung, the player that I visited on Saturday,
Yeah.
I have a feeling that it's going to be difficult for me to get any more information on him. He's from North Korea. He was born in Pyongyang. And he fled to South Korea during the Korean War. And I'm reading that he was from a very wealthy family in North Korea. Like his parents owned a naengmyeon restaurant in Pyongyang. From what I've read, he left all his family. I don't know if this was for his career. I don't know if it was some other reason. I don't know what it is. But he left by himself to South Korea during the Korean War. I've learned enough to know that this guy played all 10 positions except goalkeeper, which is fucking unbelievable too, man. Maybe this guy was like Park Ji-sung before Park Ji-sung. You know what I mean? Maybe this guy was like Yu Sang-chul before Yu Sang-chul. You know what I mean? That's the way they listed him. Like nowadays, when we see something like that, we'd be like, what the fuck is this? You know, like this must be a typo. I've read several articles like saying this guy can play all 10 positions, left, right, through the center. And like he played for a long time too, till his like late 30s. And like, dude, during those days, there was no sports science in Korea back in the day.
In mid-late 30s?
Dude, like we didn't even have sports science in Korean football in the 90s when I was growing up there. And we're talking 60s, bro. And for him to play for as long as he did, 1956 Asian Cup win, 1960 Asian Cup win, 1964 Olympics, he was the captain. So,
True.
We're talking, at least for Korea, like a top level player. To tell you the story, man, the players that won the Asian Cup in 1960, they weren't given an actual medal, like each of them. They were given a medal, but it was like very artificial, like wasn't gold or anything like that. And they had hard feelings about that. I mean, I'm sure I would too. If I go win the Asian Cup, I would want a real medal, you know? But then like there was always that grudge from the players' camp. And in 2014, the KFA randomly just came up with the decision to like make these medals for these players. They were only able to give those medals to 6 players. And they said it's not because the other, 18 or so players passed away. They couldn't contact all of them because they lost touch. And like that's confusing to me. Like how y'all not even like keep in touch with these people, man? Like they're like the last winners that we've had, like of a major tournament. It was a 14 tournament back in the days, but like that's the way it was. So like, what else can you do?
수비는 석진도, 차태성, 김홍복, 하프는 김지석, 손명석, 김지성, 김진호.
It's not the first time I went through the profiles of these players. But then like I'm looking at the place of death and that's when I realized like Los Angeles, California. That's when I started to look up the local Korean newspapers in LA. I started looking up like obituaries. There was information about his funeral. That's how I found out where he was in his cemetery. I searched for his name at first, and that's what I asked him too when I called him, all that stuff. Couldn't find it. Like his name wasn't registered. So I'm like, they must have taken him to Korea or something. Like what's going on here? But then I'm like, okay, he must have had an English name. I had his date of birth, his birth year, and date of death too. So like I started matching that with all these entries, and I found a Thomas Cha. I had no idea this guy was called Thomas, man. Like the cemetery website tells you exactly where his tombstone is. I followed the pin drop to that exact spot. On the record, he was registered only as Thomas Cha. His tombstone, like his only name on there was in Korean.
So you were the first one probably who had on the record that Thomas Cha is Cha Tae-sung.
Yeah, because like when you go on the website, bro, every person who's buried there's a guest book that you could sign for them. And nobody ever signed Thomas Cha's book. I was the first one to sign it.